Before we start today's show, we want to invite you to stick around at the end of the episode to enjoy a preview of a new podcast that premieres on July 14th. As the industry's exclusive cannabis podcast network, MJBulls is proud to present Women Leading in Cannabis. Join host Kira Reed each week for inspirational discussions with women who are leading the cannabis industry.
Which is investments into biotech, tech, and real estate, the top three most profitable sectors of any industry, especially in cannabis. And you are correct, we do have 30% of those funds are earmarked to be invested back into minority communities.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. Today in Raising Cannabis Capital, we are joined by Heather Lawson-Bradfield from the Totum Advising Group. Heather, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Well, one of the great things about the cannabis industry is that it's still really a blank canvas, and it gives us a rare opportunity to do a lot of good things, including making an industry that's fully inclusive. Because a diverse industry is not only fair, it also makes it a lot stronger. Unfortunately, just the demand to survive is so great that it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. And that's why it's so nice to have a company like yours whose foundation is built on giving minority communities the tools and guidance they need to help them succeed. I'd like to start there today if we can. Can you just give our listeners a brief perspective of some of the sort of unique challenges that aspiring minority entrepreneurs face, and in some of the ways that you help them overcome those challenges?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's a great synopsis of exactly why we do what we do at Totum Advising Group. So we are a minority-focused business development and marketing firm in the cannabis space. And we are minority-focused because, as you mentioned, minorities tend to have a greater challenge of becoming successful entrepreneurs in any business space, but especially in the cannabis space, historically because of the war on drugs, has disproportionately affected the Black and Brown communities. And so what my firm does is focus on extending a hand out to help pull people up and open doors so that they can experience the opportunity of successfully running their own company or firm or online venture, e-commerce, or whatever that may look like in the cannabis space. Mm-hmm. So we achieve that through a couple of different mechanisms. Primarily, what we do is we put our money where our mouth is. We represent these communities. We have women leaders. We have African American leaders. We have non-able-bodied individuals. We have veterans. We have the spectrum of individuals that comprise our company so that we can represent the people that we want to work with. Another way that we do it is by being creative in how we bring on clients. Most times, the greatest challenge for an entrepreneur is achieving capital. So getting the funds or finding a way that they can actually launch their project, again, because of many socioeconomic structures that are out there, which disproportionately affect minorities. What we do is we work to be creative, whether that's through creating equity bids or finding investors that want to have an active seat at the table at a company that they can mold as well and create a mentorship environment, or find unique partnerships with other individuals that are interested in furthering the cause of individuals in this space that we just want to see it do so much more with the representation of individuals at the table.
Well, under that same heading, you recently teamed up with CE Hutton to help them really ramp up their Legacy 5280 Partner Fund. I had CE on the show a while ago, and for those of you that haven't had an opportunity to listen to that episode, for one, you should listen to it because it's great. But the 5280 Partnership Fund is an equity fund that mandates that a portion of all the investment goes to minority-owned businesses. Can you tell us a little bit more about the partnership?
Correct. Absolutely. So again, as I mentioned earlier, we really try to walk the walk and talk the talk at the same time. So CE Hutton is another minority-focused business development firm located out of Denver. And we became acquainted with one another when it became apparent that we had very similar end goals and objectives. And so we partnered in creating this venture capital fund, Legacy Partners 5280, which is investments into biotech, tech, and real estate, the top three most profitable sectors of any industry, but especially in cannabis. And you are correct. We do have 30% of those funds are earmarked to be invested back into minority communities. Our definition of minority communities are veterans, non-able-bodied individuals, LGBTQ, women, people of color, and any other minority group that we see within this country. We have this set up this way so that we can ensure that there is a door opened for an individual and they can pass that on, and then we begin to see this legacy of generational wealth be created within minority communities that haven't typically had these opportunities in the past.
Yeah, it's so important. It's so important. And you know what's interesting is that I'm seeing this on our end is that we're having investors reach out to us who are actively seeking minority-owned businesses so that they can, for lack of a better word, correct their portfolio, making their investment portfolio reflect the population. That wasn't a thing a year ago, but it's definitely becoming a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We do specialize in the minority space. And so I think our opportunity to see individuals walk through the door and say, hey, it's really important for me to ensure that I have the right team in place or I have the right portfolio makeup, and really understanding that diversity is critical to be able to weather the long-term storms of investing. We find it, again, very important to help the communities that we're in understand that while you want an investor, you don't want to be sacrificing the majority ownership of your company along the way. That's one of the big problems that minorities run into when they're working to raise capital or gain capital. And so as we begin to correct this, as you said, correct this portfolio imbalance, that's another piece of the narrative that we're working in here to make sure that the investors and the investees understand how they can best work together and create that diversity, not just in the portfolio, but again, in the cannabis space in the long term.
If someone wants to correct their portfolio, they can do so by investing in the Legacy 5280 Partner Fund. Are there any investment parameters that they should be aware of?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, actually. So we do work with accredited investors only. Not to say that we would ever turn down anybody that wanted to donate to the fund, because you're more than welcome to donate. This is really about a movement and about changing the landscape for the long term for generations to come, which is why we've named the fund Legacy Partners. It's about finding those legacies with the right kinds of partners. So we do also have a $50,000 minimum investment to the fund. All of this information can be found on our website if you'd like more information.
That's great. We'll have all of Heather's contact information and the Legacy 5280 Partner Fund. So we've been speaking with Heather Lawson-Bradfield from Totum Advising Group, TAG for short. Heather, I really appreciate you being on the show today. And also thanks for everything that you're doing. This is such important work. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here and giving me the opportunity to really speak about what we're doing and the changes that we're working to inflict for all of the individuals that deserve to have a seat at the table in the cannabis sphere.
Right time, right place. Let's make it happen. Good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Tell me, boy, you make me so bored. You need to walk the other way. I tell you once more. Please get out of my way. I don't want you no more. We're done here, boy. I know you think you're so fine, but you can't see clear. I've been wanting to unwind.
Hi, my name is Kira Reed, and I'd like to invite you to be inspired by the women who are leading in the cannabis industry. Each week, we will discuss empowerment, leadership, and what it means to be a woman in charge in marijuana, hemp, and CBD. As the founder of the Women Empowered in Cannabis community, I have had the great pleasure to get to know many brilliant and talented women who are CEOs, executives, politicians, advocates, and community leaders that are focused on creating a cannabis economy that is just, fair, and equal. We'll learn how these women make decisions, how they navigate a predominantly male industry, and what they're doing to level the playing field for women. I hope you'll join us.